Okay, we are in the weekly Torah portion, and we want you to subscribe to this channel. Give it a thumbs up and hit the bell to get notifications that a new video has come out. Thank you. Okay, so we're in Portion-Vayigash, and it's page 252 in the Astral, and we're on the second Aliyah. Sorry?
I don't know if Black Sock had like the people behind me in like television, old pattern television, they do a rolling, like have the signs, like read off the signs, like.
That's right. That's right. Yep, that's what they have to do. Okay, actually, we'll start at the beginning of the Aliyah. So it's on page 250, the last line. What happened was Yehuda went before, or he went to Yosef to negotiate for Binyamin, because Binyamin was found with the chalice, a silver chalice, in his backpack, which was put into his backpack by Yosef's people, and this was a way for Yosef to test his brothers. Why, is there a fight between you two? Do you really love each other, and so on and so forth? That's what the rabbis say. That's the reason he did this sort of test. And then Yehuda had promised, let me just finish the introduction, then you can ask. So Yehuda had promised that his father, Yaakov, that if Yaakov would let Binyamin go with them to prove their innocence, then he would make sure they come back. So as a result of that, now that Binyamin is basically going to be kept as a slave at this juncture, while all the other brothers will go home, and so now Yehuda would have to deal with his father's sadness. He asked Snaf Paneach, otherwise known as AKA Yosef, I doesn't know it's Yosef. He says, let me stay instead, let the boy go home, I'll be a better servant than him. I know I'm older, I know how to do war better, I know how to do everything better, so let me stay in his place. Okay, what was your question?
Did Yosef's people get this little tablet into Benjamin's bag?
When they were putting in the grains.
Oh.
The stereotypish is right. He puts the money back. He puts everything back. So now he just slips one more thing. It's not hard to do it. They're not watching him load up. If you ever go to a loading platform, which I don't know if you ever will, but if you ever go to a loading platform where somebody's loading you up, you generally do not watch everything that's going into the box. What you'll do is you'll count the boxes, but you don't open and inspect every box. You don't inspect any box for that matter. What you do is you do a piece count. That's what we call a piece count. So if I have 50 boxes, that's what the bill of lading is, 50. So I have to have 50 packages. I don't check what's in the box, right? If that's just the way it works, because otherwise you'd never be able to get anything, right? You're going on trust. So the same thing with here. They're going to get all this wheat that's going to be loaded on. So okay, a bag, go, bag, boom, 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 boom. Again, they're not even loading it. Somebody else is loading it. They're talking to the king while their stuff is being loaded, or Pharaoh, or Yosef at this point, while the stuff is being loaded, and they just come out and they get it and pull out. So again, they're not even the ones who are loading it. Okay, that's just clear. And again, if you go to most places today, I'm not talking about a food store where you're picking up everything, but if you, what's an example would be, if you go to Walmart today, you don't have to shop anymore. You go online, you put it in online, and now Walmart will shop for you in the store, and you already paid for it, so you don't even have to pay for it there. All you're doing is signing for what they say, and you're taking their word that everything is in there. They give you a slip, granted. So now you go home and you have to check it against your slip, blah, 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 blah. Okay, if you so desire. But they'll also tell you if they replaced it, they will substitute. And they'll tell you, we substitute. Do you want this substitution? And you sign off on that. Okay, but really, I'm not checking the bags. You understand? You don't check the bags. It's there. If you want to check the bags, you want to do your own shopping, then you have to go shop. Otherwise, you have to take their word for it. And again, they're not trying to cheat you. If you see something wrong, when you unload at home, you always give them a call. And by the way, what happens is when you call up the store and say you made a mistake, they'll say, okay, forget it. We'll credit your account, no problem. Now you can do that every week. I mean, they're going to mark you down. But normally they're not going to do it every week, and normal people are very honest about it. But they're willing to take the loss because they don't want you to come back and all the stupidity, and they want to keep the customer. But that's why they could do it here. Okay? So now it says, again, this is, he's just finished off his speech. There's line 31, verse 31. It says, Vayakir oto ki ina na'ari tanu of a mate. And so when he sees that the boy is not here, he will die. And so your servants will have caused the old age of your servant, my father, to go down into the grave, and sorrow to the grave. Now he says, why, you might ask, why I, Yehuda, am speaking so much and not my other brothers, why are they in the background in this? He says, Ki avdecha arav edanar, because your servant has made himself a pledge for the boy, Im avi lemor, from my father, saying, Im lo avi enu elech, if I did not bring him back to you, chatati lavi kol yamim, so then I would have sinned to all to my father all the days, which Rashi says is referring to where is it? Rashi's not saying it here. Okay, it's referring to I know somebody says it. He's telling him to the world to come. He's telling him, not in this world, fine, I know this world, but in all the worlds, in every place possible, and the Egyptians believed in the world to come. That's why they built the pyramids, right? They thought they were going to come back, and with all their jewelry and everything else, so they certainly believed that. So he said, and now he pleads. Now he's given the whole introduction. He says, so now please let your servant remain in the place of the boy, as a servant to my master, and let the boy go up with his brothers. Okay, so Rashi explains, oh, very good. For all matters, I am better than him. Maybe the Gvora for strength, La Milchama, and the art of war, V'lashamesh, and even how to serve you. I am better because I know more. Let's face it, I am. He's was born 7, so he's 13 years older. Oh, no, I'm saying he's not 13 years. He's Yehuda. So he's a fourth born. So fourth born, so he's born the 4th year. So let's make him, instead of 13 years, 9 years older. He's approximately 9 years older. So he has 9 years more experience. Okay. We're on page 252. Okay, so that's why he says that. Now what happens? It was a very touching story that he gives him, and as a result, V'lo yachol, now we're at verse 34. Ki eich ela, again he continues to say, how can I go up to my father? And the boy not being with me, pen ereb harab, lest I see the wickedness or the bad, asher yimsa lavi, that will find my father. In other words, I can't live with that. So let me stay. Okay. As a result, now we're in chapter 45, verse 1. Yosef could no longer withstand it or withhold. He says, restrain himself. Why can't he restrain himself? So Rashi is in the Cholan Shivim to all those who are standing in front of him. And so what happens? Vayikra, he calls out, Hotziu called Ishmael love. All the men must be removed from near me, v'lo admad ish ito, so that no man stood with him, bidvada Yosef elachav, when Yosef made known to his brothers who he was. So when he makes himself known. So Rashi explains, Lo yachol Yosef l'tapek l'chol savim, Lo yachol l'zbol sheyu mitzrim l'savim alav. He couldn't stand, he couldn't put up with the idea that the Mitzrim are standing there, and then we'll be able to hear that how his brothers will be embarrassed when he announces that he is Yosef. He doesn't want to put up with that. That's one way of looking at it. Ramban says a different thing. And if you look, and number 1 on the Art Scroll, he gives 3 opinions for this. He says the verse associates the presence of Yosef's attendance with his inability to restrain himself. Among the explanations are: 1, he was ready, there's Rashi again, we just read it, he was ready to reveal himself, but he could not bear to let his brothers be embarrassed in the presence of so many bystanders. So that's the simple way to do it.
Why would his brothers be embarrassed?
Because he's going to say, I'm Yosef. That you sent. He can't say openly you sold.
They had,
but they know what they did.
Pit.
They know what they did. So he doesn't want to do that. 2, the Rashbam says he was concerned with his own image, not that of his brothers. Yeah. It would have been unseemly for him to break into tears in the presence of so many outsiders. See, the guy's going to break down.
They're leading the country,
In the country. No, you can't break down. The worst thing is to see a leader cry. It's not considered good.
Who was the presidential candidate that started crying? It was a long time ago, right? I forget. It was in the 80s.
It was
against Reagan.
Against Reagan?
Somebody started crying about something. I remember in a campaign. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, and he lost, of course, against. I don't think he got nominated by the other party. Yeah, but that's somebody high up though. Yeah, I mean he's not in office yet, but still he's trying to attain it.
Right. Well, the truth is, in the presidential races, we hold these guys up to an amazing pedestal that they can't get sick or lose their voice.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
So that it really is difficult because we're on the road continually, and by the time they finish with all their debates and everything else, they really are schmatters. They don't have anything left, and that's why they wanted the old guy McCain. That was your claim against McCain. He was too old for the office because he couldn't keep up. But he did. I mean, he just lost, but he kept up.
Yeah.
But that's what they really look for. Yeah. So, and finally, Ramban, he says, Joseph's multitudes of attendants were moved by Yehuda's plea, and they joined and pleaded for Binyamin's freedom. Joseph could not resist their combined pleas. So that's really what you're looking at, right? Everybody, the Ramban, it seems to be going, I mean, they're all pshat. They're all looking at, why can't he restrain himself here? What's the problem? So you want to announce to your brothers that I'm Yosef. I was just testing you. I had to figure out if you were really my brothers. I didn't recognize you. It's been 22 years since I last saw you. You know, you got fat, you got skinny, blah, 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 whatever the case is going to be. You grew a beard. I didn't recognize you. So now I recognize you. I recognize, because now I see my brother Binyamin. I recognize my mother. Great. He could have said a whole bunch of things. He could have really covered it up. Or he could have said, oh, look at that. What a beautiful thing. You know, it's, I'm going to, I break into tears because it's a touching story. Have you never seen a person cry? You know, it's not, the truth is, for many years, it was unmanly to cry. Yeah. And that's why when you would watching a movie, and you would go, and you would feel the tear, you go, yeah. You try to do that. I'm not crying.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You're very embarrassing to cry. Okay, so
anything to avoid pulling the handkerchief out and wiping your eyes.
Right. but nonetheless, it's a human condition that when something strikes us, we cry. I'm talking about something emotionally. Will strike us, we'll cry. So it could be the Rashbam is right that if he was concerned for his own image, okay. But really, what always resonated with me was Nachmanides, that namely the Ramban, where he says that everybody was hearing the story and they were saying, you got to give in.
So he wanted to get out.
Get out. I'm not interested. It's enough with you people.
What are you taking their side for, in other words?
Not only that, who gives you the right to get involved?
Oh, yeah.
I don't need you. I'm the king. I'm the second in command. And jump in the lake.
Yeah, I don't remember studying that one before.
It's a very insightful.
It is.
It's very insightful because, like I said, that makes more sense than everything else. You know, he can't restrain himself. So get out of the room. Leave the room. Like he did twice before. They heard him saying, when he heard the brothers saying, we shouldn't have sold him. We heard him pleading, blah, blah, blah. And so he leaves the room. He cries. He washes his face. He comes back out. Okay. Then his brother Binyamin comes in. Why do you call your sons by the 10 names? I didn't see my brother's chuppah. I didn't see this. I didn't see that. Blah, blah, blah. Again, he gets emotional. He walks out of the room, goes to use the bathroom. He's not Pharaoh. Goes to use the bathroom, wipes his face, cleans himself up, comes out again. No big deal. So do the same thing here. The question really is all contingent upon the words Vayikra Hotziu Kol Ishmael Lai. Everybody has to leave. Why are you doing that? That's really the whole question that's going on here. That you got emotional, who cares? So you walk out. You don't have to do anything. Really? You understand? Because there's always people. You got emotional. There's the third time.
Yeah, you could always
getting
walk
emotional.
out yourself.
You walk out.
Why throw everybody
Right?
out?
What do you have to throw everybody out for? Walk out. Okay. So that's why Ramban makes so much more sense to me. That he was looking and saying, I can't put up with you people. You're too emotional. Get out of my way. Just get out of here. Okay. And so he calls. He says they have to leave. Good. Now what happens? Once they all go out, finally he gives his voice and he cries. So Mitzrayim heard. What does that mean? That Mitzrayim heard. The people, the whole country heard he cried. It hit the newspaper. They had Twitter accounts in those days. They had Facebook. They didn't have these things. Okay, Vayishma Beit Paro, in the household of Pharaoh heard. So Rashi wants to say Beitol Shel Paro Koloma Avadav, his servants and the household. That's who was not really his house. Blah blah blah. All these things, right? So the bottom line is they heard something was going on. So which means again, other commentaries will say that they kept their ears to the door. They want to know what was going on.
Yeah.
Okay, because here they kicked out of the room, but they try to put
the palace intrigue, and you just see
right,
this in
right.
the makings of a movie. You know,
right. That or the cup on the thing. They're trying to hear the glass. You know, they're going nuts. They want to hear. So fine. What happens? So now we are Gimel. Vayomer Yosef Elachav. So Yosef finally says to his brothers, Ani Yosef. I am Yosef. Hod Avichai. Is my father still alive? Why are you asking that again, by the way? That you've asked that 3 times. Every time you see your brothers, you keep asking the same question.
Wow.
Is your father alive? Is your father alive? So they said yes, 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 3 times. So now, why are you saying again? By the way, hi, I'm Yosef. Is dad still alive? Amazing question they're asking him. It doesn't make sense. Okay. So, and then it says, where is it? But his brothers could not answer him because they were embarrassed or felt disconcerted before him. Embarrassed is the right word. Okay, so Rashi says Mipnei Busha, because of their embarrassment. They know, first of all, they know that they sold their brother. So it could be a moment of, now we understand. And by the way, in retrospect, we understand everything now. Why you torture us, because you want to get revenge. I mean, they are really in a no-win situation here. He is the king. He kicked everybody out. Hi, guess what, guys? I'm the guy you sold. He's going to put that into that. He's going to really push that down the throat too. Yeah, go ahead.
So was it Reuben or one of them? Reuben, the firstborn. We should put him in the pit, and then I'll come back later and drag him out.
Well, he didn't say I'll drag him out.
Well, he didn't say out loud, but when he went.
And he had his mind right.
He went to go back and check. Apparently, he wasn't part of the whole transaction.
Correct.
So he didn't. He actually thought. Did he believe with Yaakov that he'd been torn to bits?
No, he knew that he was sold.
Oh, he knew he was sold. Okay.
Yeah.
So the other ones that told him.
No, they told him what they did. There's no secret. That's why they took the code name. They made the whole ruse up. The brother knew what they had done. No. So Reuven understood. He said what happened. They told him, and then they made the ruse where they ripped up the code and they sent it.
Oh, he came to the pit. He looked in, saw he wasn't there.
And he said, "What happened? What happened?" They told him. They weren't exactly. They weren't ashamed at that point. Now they're ashamed. Again, I'm the ruler of the country. It was just taking this shot. You don't go without going anywhere else. I'm the ruler of the country, and he's kicked everybody out. He wants his final revenge, and he's telling us, hey, guess what? I'm Yosef.
Guess who?
And right, and by the way, this is what the rabbi said when he says, "Ha'ova vichai," is my father still alive? My father, by the way, not your father. It's not our father. Is my father still alive? Okay, yeah. Is he still alive? How can he be alive knowing that I've been gone for so many years? He loved me too much for that. So how can he still be alive? Okay, it's an interesting question. He's asking his brothers, even though he knows the answer. Again, he knows the answer. So then he continues on. Now here's another part of this. Vayomer Yosef el Echav. Now Yosef says to his brothers, Geshuna Eli, come close to me. Vayigash, when they approach. So what's going on? Why do you say that? He says, Rashi explains, Ra'otam Nesugim La'achor. He saw that the boys were stepping backwards. Okay? They're a little afraid. They don't know what to do. What's going on. They're stepping back. So Amar Akshav, so he says, now Achi Nichlamim, my brothers are embarrassed. Chas v'shalom. So Kara Lahem v'lashon tachat Raka. So he called them in a soft language. He said, come here. Okay? And V'her'a v'tachnum, and a pleading, because he used the word now. He didn't say come. He said, come now, please. Come please. V'her'a lahem shehu mahul. And he showed them that he had a bris milah. So he says, I'm one of you. Now, you have to ask yourself a simple question. Why did the Mitzrayim complain last week when they said, when they went to Yosef to get food? What was Yosef's response to them? Circumcise yourselves. You have to become circumcised. So wait a second. Your entire country is circumcised. What do I care if you? And I guarantee you, that hit the headlines. That hit the headlines. Michigan wants us to be circumcised. Everybody has to do it. Pharaoh says yes. The entire place is circumcised. So if that's the case, why aren't you? What's the difference that he's mahal?
I'm presuming that nobody was circumcised in those days except for the Jews.
But I'm telling you, the Egyptians had to circumcise. They all had to be circumcised.
But I'm saying, yes, I mean, what I'm saying, that they would know that, they think, why do you want to do this? Because only those Hebrews do this.
Okay, that's on the Egyptians. But the bottom line is the Egyptians had to do it.
Yeah.
So, but now that was the beginning of the time. So now the brothers are here. So what's the proof that he's circumcised? So I saw one response like this, a very interesting response, that there's two levels of circumcision. In other words, I forget what it's called in English, but it's, in other words, there's two parts to the circumcision.
Really?
Yeah. There's two parts. I have to peel off the foreskin and then cut. But what happens if I don't do it all together? So the question is, do I have to do it more and blah, blah, blah. Okay, that gets the whole question. It could be that they just had the first stage of it while he had a total circumcision. I'm just accept.
I mean, I've never watched that close to really see what's going on.
I haven't watched it. I'm not interested in watching.
It's interesting.
I'm just saying there's two levels. Again, do you have to do priya, what they call priya?
I read someplace, there's apparently it's been a tradition in England for a long, long time that the royal male babies, they call a moil to do the circumcision. Now, obviously, he's not doing the halakha.
Okay.
He's just doing it like a doctor would do it.
Right.
I guess they figure he's skilled,
Okay, but I'm just saying that
that would be a question. Do you do something different for them? I mean, besides not saying anything.
Yeah, so I'm not sure. I can't answer that.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that could. I remember seeing some response like that. It's like with the Hebrew. Also, he's going to speak Lashon HaKodesh to them. So the question is, wait a second. You're not the first speech. What is Lashon HaKodesh? We had a whole lunch on this.
Yeah.
What is Lashon HaKodesh? Is it just the Kanani, the language of they were speaking Canaan, Ivri, or was there a special language for that was only for the Avot? And so some people want to say there was a special language only for the Avot, that it wasn't and there's a difference between Ivri and Lashon HaKodesh. We had a Lashon, remember the Lashon?
Because Abraham Avinu came
from Avanar, right? Avanar, but he came from Avanar, the Mesopotamia.
Okay. Oh, he went to.
He went to Canaan. But the question is, were they all speaking Hebrew or not? So, by the way, when you can look at this again, is what we were talking about in the lunch we learned yesterday, was Yiddish. Yiddish is a uniquely Hebrew Jewish language. Yeah. It's not a language spoken by, well, I shouldn't say anybody. There are plenty of non-Jews who can speak Yiddish, but it's
the ones that hang in New York.
The ones who hang around New York can speak Yiddish. But normally a German wouldn't be caught dead speaking Yiddish. Yeah. It was a Middle German, and it has a mixture of languages that would go against their very grain. So, but it was a uniquely Jewish language for that reason. Same as Ladino. So we've picked up certain languages that become uniquely ours. That's the same thing as Lashon HaKodesh.
So Abraham Avinu, but what was transmitted down to him from Adam HaRishon?
It could be. Again, right. So I'm just saying that some people want to say that that's what Lashon HaKodesh is all about. That's why it's a holy language.
So in other words, it would have specifically had its formation beginning with Abraham Avinu. Is that what you're saying?
No, it would have been from God, but
but it would have been
right. But it would have gone from Avram to Yitzchak to Yaakov and his children. It would have been uniquely for their family.
But from that point forward, or do you think? Does anybody comment from Adam HaRishon what was going on there?
I don't think
that they were speaking.
I don't remember seeing that. I don't remember seeing that. Right.
But we know Avraham Avinu.
Yeah, it's certainly from Avram. That's why they want to call it the holy language. Right. And it's because for other reasons too, but for that they want to say it was unique for them, because otherwise everybody's speaking Lashon HaKodesh.
So other languages developed out of it. What's Aramaic is
everything's
close, and then we've already seen these differences.
Right. Everything will come from it, no question about that. But again, if there's a purity to the language that apparently Avram Yitzchak, according to that opinion, that Avram Yaakov and Yaakov would carry on to the kids, and that would be what the Torah is, and so on and so forth.
The capability of refining it was given by God to.
No, that was a pure language. Yeah. So when we use it, we abuse it, and we make it secular, because we keep adding words that aren't there, like Google and stuff.
Hebrew.
I'm saying Hebrew.
In conversation.
Modern Hebrew is very corrupted.
I guess I think what you've told us, that's what the argument is against using it in everyday language.
Right. That's why it's because it's supposed to be Lashon HaKodesh.
Interesting enough, Ahmadinejad, said the same thing. He didn't want, when he was the president of Iran, he didn't want to bring in all these high-tech terms. He said, we'll find another word in what are they, Farsi?
It's like France. Yeah. They have, French don't have, well they do, they say like magazine and telephone or something. I don't know, but Dad says what they did, they came up with their own word for the thing. But everyone says magazine, but the French, like in the dictionary, it's this thing that means something very specific in French. That's something that has to do with like paper and it was cultural.
Yeah.
Right. But they're making it up, and they're just arrogant. So there's an arrogance on that part, where it has to be a specific well, again in Hebrew, by the way, they would also have wanted a specific word, but nobody uses it, so it doesn't really matter. But we all use refrigerator. We don't say the career for the most part.
So the thing is, like in a lot of the academic whatever, you're supposed to use the French word for it.
All right, okay, right. But again, that's being man-made. So I'm not keeping the purity of the language. If I want to keep the purity of the language, so then I'm going to have to understand how the verb conversive works. I'm going to have to understand all these things, all the grammar, why I use past, why I use future, why I use evolve, why am I doing it? Why did God do this? We don't know. So that purity of the language is gone. And that's part of the problem. Mm-hmm. Okay. So now, so he's fine. He says now, in 5, he says, V'ata. So once he showed him his bris milah. He showed him, and he got them, and now he goes on. Now do not be sad, he says. Do not be sad. And don't be angry. You shouldn't get angry. That you sold me here. Don't be upset. Don't be angry. Look, you told me here that it wasn't you. Why? And he says, Ki lemichya shalachani Elokim lifneihem. Because it was to save you, for nourishment. How does he put it? For provider. There you go. For provider. God sent me before you. So it wasn't you. You think it was for you. You think it was you who sent me. So this is, by the way, a very beautiful thing to say. He's saying, guys, I know you want to take the blame for this. And you know what? I blamed you for years. No question. But I see this all from Hashem. He wanted me to be sent here so that I could become the provider for the family. And that would now his dreams, in respect, make more sense. Right? He wasn't meant to be the ruler of the family. He never becomes the ruler of the family. He never becomes the king of the family. That's Yehuda's role. Okay? The Moshe, he doesn't become the demonic or the monarch of the family. He becomes he's a brother. But he becomes the provider for the brothers and the family. That he did. And that's why they would bow down to him ultimately. That they would have to give in to him, granted. But that he said, so you didn't do this. It was Hashem who sent me. Now, he never says, and it's an interesting statement that I forget who says this. He never says, I forgive you. He'll never say, I forgive you for it. And so that's why some rabbis want to say, I forget who said it, so I'll say some rabbis. But I know my father-in-law told me the story, but I don't know who he was quoting. But they said that that's why hundreds of years later, the martyrs would have to go through that. The 10 martyrs that we read on Yom Kippur, and also on Tisha B'Av, that they were burned and everything else. Remember, you know what I'm talking about? Okay? So those stories, the 10 martyrs, is because he never said, I forgive you. What's the point? The point that the rabbis are trying to get across is, it's not enough to say it wasn't you, it was really Hashem. You say, I forgive you. So important to say, I forgive you. Because then Hashem doesn't hold it. He said, okay, you forgave him, done. I don't have to punish them anymore. Okay, but once I don't say I forgive you, it's understood in the words you want to argue. No, it's not enough. It's not enough. You have to say I forgive you.
It was all Hashem's doing.
Right, that's all Hashem's doing. So it wasn't you. So you would think that's acquiescence.
Yeah.
But no. As a matter of fact, that's why later on in next week, when the father dies, 17 years later, 17 years later he dies, and the brothers think, he's not inviting us. He still hates us. If he would have said, I forgive you at the very beginning, they wouldn't have thought that, right? Why would I think that you hate me? But because he never said, that's what the argument is. He never said, I forgive you, which is very important. You have to say, I forgive you. Yeah.
I think I remember that story too with the rabbis having to be sacrificed.
Well, that's, again, we read it twice a year.
It reads off like the Romans were
right.
read off to learn from the Torah.
They sold, right.
If they'd been alive now, I would have punched them, but
right.
You will have to suffice.
Correct. Right. That's the story then. Right. So now the question is, why did that have to happen? And so the rabbi, whoever my father-in-law was quoting, was saying that it was because he didn't say, I forgive you. So that, like I said, the important thing is to say, I forgive you. And that's probably why we read it on Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and also Tisha B'Av, to say, I forgive you. No. Okay, so now, so we go on. So he says, don't be concerned, Hashem sent me here. And he says now further, Kizesh Natayim Ha'Ra'av. This is the first 2 years of the fast, of the famine that we have. And we care of arts in the midst of them. There's still another 5 years going. So, that there's not going to be any plowing and reaping. So, gentlemen, it's a big problem here. Now, Hashem sent me before you, to put for you a remnant in the land, and to keep you guys alive. I'm going to feed you. with the Fleita Gadol for a great saving. It's tremendous. Hashem sent me here is great. Okay. So now, not only did he send me here, and now it wasn't you who sent me here. Again, he's emphasizing that. Ki Elokim was Hashem, and he put me as a father. And Rashi explains what does it mean as a father, as a chavir or a pataron, or a patron. Okay, either as a friend, in other words, a partner with Pharaoh, or his patron. I'm keeping him going too. Okay. So it depends on what I have to do. To Pharaoh and Adon Chol Beito, and as a master for his whole house, and Moshe, Chol Eretz Yisrael, and the ruler of throughout the entire Egypt. So now he says, Maruvi Alu Alavi, quickly go up to Dad. Go up. Why go up? Because Israel is higher.
Yeah.
Right now, it could be spiritually higher. It could just be from Mitzrayim, which is lower geographically. That's what he's saying, going up.
Oh, the river flows there, so it must be lower going down.
Right.
Huh?
Right. So Rashi will say, Eretz Yisrael Gavoh Mikol Haaretzot, that Israel is higher than all the other countries, all the other lands. We know that's not true. So we say that it's talking about spiritually higher.
Is it the
What?
Egypt is south of Israel.
And therefore?
You go up to South Bend from Indianapolis. You go down to Indianapolis. Indianapolis might not be lower. Actually, I'm pretty sure it might be higher because South Bend closer to the river, closer to the lake.
So what do you want to say already?
So I'm saying going down geographically not geographically, but just north, south, east, west.
Oh, okay,
Down,
okay,
south,
okay,
going
fine.
up, north.
Okay.
I think I remember from Israel that they said the Dead Sea is the lowest place on earth.
Yes.
What do you call it?
It's 200 feet below sea level.
Yeah, below sea. Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting.
It's amazing.
So like I said, but Israel we know is not topographically. It's not the highest place it's not the highest place. You have the Himalayas, they're a little taller. Okay. I think Blue Hills is a little taller. Even.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that, but okay. Nonetheless, that's what he's saying. So again, really looking at spirituality, but it could just be directional for what do you call it? For Egypt. Okay. And so you hurry and go to Dad. My father, again, it's my father, not your father. And you shall say to him, Koma bincha Yosef, thus says your son Yosef, Samani Elokim, Adon Chol Mitzrayim, Hashem has put me as a master of all Mitzrayim. Rada Eli, come down to me, Al Tamot. Do not stay there. Don't stay where you are. Okay? Why? And furthermore, Goshen, you're going to live in the land of Goshen. You'll be close to me. You, your sons, your grandchildren, your sheep, your cattle, all that you have. Bring it all down. And I will support you there in Goshen. Why? Still another 5 years for this famine. And if you don't come, you're going to become impoverished. You, your household, and everything is through there. Why does he have to do that, by the way? He's going to say it more, but why does he have to do that? Why does he have to say, come to me? Why can't I support my father? So I'll send the provisions home.
Oh.
Let me send it to Canaan. Why not? No. Oh, you're very cute.
What?
He said it cost more. Shipping.
Well,
He's looking at shipping prices.
What about the possibility of bandits sending it all that far distance? Long way to
No.
go.
No. I don't know for sure, but it seemed more like an internal politics thing.
Internal politics. Why?
The Egyptians will see you sending money and food off to your father up in Israel, and
You claim it's your father. You claim it's your family, but you're really trying to build up your own coffers. Right? If I start sending my money to the islands, okay, I'm saying I'm supporting my family in the islands, in the Cayman Islands.
Yeah.
I'm saying I have people in the Cayman Islands, so my family's there. I met what? No, I said Cayman. All right. So the Cayman Islands, and so I'm going to send all my stuff there, and people are going to say, whoa. what are you doing? Why are you sending? Obviously, you're building up your fortune. You claim it's your family. It was a convenient thing. You had these 12 brothers, 12 guys who came, and they made a whole, what?
10 or 11.
11. You have 11 brothers. You have 11 boys who came here. They all looked, nice guys. They're all brothers, Mustama. You had them dead to rights. So you made a deal with them. I'm going to tell you, I'm your lost long brother. And you're going to say, yeah, I'm going to send you down to Dad. And I'm going to say, I'm going to support you guys. And I'm going to send you what you're going to do, because I really own you people at this point. I'm going to, that would be the headlines. I'll send it to you. You put it there. And then when I'm ready to leave this popsicle stand, I'll blow this popsicle stand in. Who cares? I only have another 5 years before they realize that and by that time I would have emptied the entire country out. That's what he's afraid of. By the way, this is the ultimate Marat Ayin. Because he really wants to support the father. But he's saying, I can't support you there, come to me.
It's not going to look right to your sons.
Correct.
Send all those provisions constantly streaming out.
Correct. Can't do that. It's not good. Okay.
It's interesting.
Yeah, so he says, that's why he has to say that. Now he says, behold, your eyes have seen, and the eyes of my brother Binyamin, that my mouth is speaking to you. Originally, they spoke through interpreters. He says, I'm speaking to you. You hear me speaking Lashon HaKodesh, only the language that we would know. I'm speaking the mother tongue to us. Okay. And now he's also comparing, the rabbis say, he's also comparing the brothers to Binyamin. Just as I have no hatred, no animosity for Binyamin, I have no animosity for you. Which again, you could say, this is his way of saying, I forgive you. He never said those words. But he's saying, okay, but it's cool. Everything's cool. So then, where is it? So then, right. She says, "Mihartem aratem et avihena." So again, hurry and go down to my father over there and over there. So then, vayipol al savre Binyamin achi vayevk. He fell upon the shoulders of Binyamin and he cried. Why does he cry? Rashi says because he was crying because the two Batei Mikdashot that are going to be destroyed. They're going to be built in Binyamin's territory. It will be built in Binyamin's territory. When you go to Israel and you go to the Har HaBayit, you've just walked into Binyamin's territory. It's on the edge of Yehuda. The line is there. So you're in, depending on where you are, you're either in Yehuda or you're in Binyamin territory. Yeah.
So during when the Davidic kingdom became Yehuda, and then the tribe of the north, Jerusalem was split in two. Or who got when the 10 tribes?
No. When the land was split up by Yehoshua, so the border was Binyamin and then Yehuda. It wasn't 10 tribes versus 12 tribes.
No.
It wasn't 10 versus 2. By the way, again, it would be Yehuda and Binyamin. It would be a southern kingdom.
So they shared Jerusalem.
Yeah.
Okay. So Binyamin was the civil war with the dead harlot.
Right. That was a different thing. Right.
The 10 tribes were separate.
Right. Okay. So what happens? So he, like I said, he kissed his brothers, and then Vayich Binyamin, and so Binyamin also cried, and Bacha Alav. So Rav, and he on his shoulder. Why was his shoulder for? Because of Rashi explains where is it? The Mishkan in Shiloh. On the Mishkan in Shiloh, that in the future was in the place of Yosef, that would be destroyed. So they're crying over either destroy Beis HaMikdash in Binyamin's case, or in Yosef, since he had this Shiloh there, Mishkan Shiloh, that was destroyed, so they're crying on that. Okay. The simple way would have been to say, they saw each other after 22 years of crying. No, because it says shoulders, The key word here is shoulders. That's why they identified that as where the temple was, because it says that the temple were between the shoulders. That's how they got that. Okay. Then it says, "When then he kissed all the brothers, and they cried upon him. And finally, after all that, Dibru echavita, the brothers spoke with him. Until then, there was total quiet. They didn't know what was happening. Here it is. I'm Yosef. I'm crying. I'm speaking Lashon Kodesh. I showed him my Bris Milah. I did this. I did that. Your eyes saw me like Binyamin's eyes saw me. Until he finally cries and gives them a hug and a kiss. They don't know what to do. Finally, Dibru echav. Finally, they speak to him. And why didn't they speak? Because, as Rashi says, first of all, it says, afterwards, when they saw that he was crying and his heart was full with them, in other words, he was totally with them, then they spoke with him because at the beginning they were embarrassed from him. Again, we sold you. And that's 20 years ago. And we didn't look for you. We didn't care what happened to you.
Nobody kept the receipt.
Say again?
Nobody kept the receipt.
Nobody kept the receipt. Right. Okay, no returns. So I called Nishma Beit Paro Lemor. Now the voice or the sound was heard in the house of Paro saying, Ba'u Ache Yosef, that the brothers of Yosef have come. Vayita Beinei Paro. And it was great. It was good in the eyes of Paro Beinei Avadav. And it was good in the eyes of his servants. Why? Rashi doesn't say. Why doesn't Rashi say? Okay. The reason is because, so it's the Ramban. What it was a simple rule in Mitzrayim. Who could not be leader? A slave. A foreigner. Well, a foreigner they still have. But a slave. When he shows that he's not a slave, that he really comes from a rich family, Baruch Hashem, our laws were not broken. This is the greatest thing since sliced bread. They are so happy. And so that's why they're good with it. And so then...
So they no longer have to abide by an exception.
They no longer have to abide... Right. So then, Vayoma Paro al Yosef, so Paro said to Yosef, Emer Lachecha Zodasu. Tell your brothers this is what you're going to do. Tana Bircham. Load up your animals. L'chu bo'u arza Canaan. Come down to Mitzrayim. Actually, it doesn't come down. Come to Mitzrayim. Chuad avichem. Take your father. V'yepatechem. And your household. Uvo elai. Come to me. V'etna lachem atuv eretz Mitzrayim. And I'm going to give you the best in the Mitzrayim. V'ichlod chelev ha'artz. And you'll eat from the fat of the land. So here Rashi says that he said something, he didn't know what he was saying, because really the Jews are in the end going to take everything as recompense, as their reward for being in there for 210 years. They're going to empty that Mitzrayim out. But that's as far as words come, we'll give you the best of everything. Okay, we'll have to stop there.